What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so some clown by the name of Nick Fuentes, all right, he used to have a platform here on YouTube, says that this election coming up, not the midterms, but 2024, may be one of the last elections that the majority in this country can use that majority to great effect. If all or most people in that majority were all in one accord and they voted overwhelmingly for one particular candidate being Trump, then what should happen is they should elect Trump, the majority, and then they should dissolve Congress and just anoint Trump as a dictator, which is the fantasy of all of these extreme Trump supporters. That's the fantasy. What do you think is behind all of these motherfuckers who say, well, unless we win, we don't recognize? They don't respect democracy. Most of these motherfuckers, they want essentially a white Christian dictatorship. Their version of what happened in Nazi Germany. And just the blueprint he's naming is exactly what the Nazis did in the 1930s. Hitler did not become dictator by overthrowing the government. He became a dictator legally, but after he was put into his position legally, manipulated events to become a dictator. So what happened was, in 1932, in the presidential elections in Germany, he came in second to Paul von Hindenburg for president. But the Nazis, ever since the late 1920s, because of the Great Depression and a lot of unhappiness going on at that time in Germany, they had been gaining power. So they were getting a higher and higher percentage of the vote. And they went from getting like 3-4% of the vote in elections to Hitler getting almost 44% of the vote. And at that time, Hitler wanted the chancellorship. They didn't want to give it to him, but ultimately, he won the chancellorship, which was head of government. He was appointed chancellor January 30th of 1933, and then afterwards, he and the Nazis manipulated certain events to get to the pinnacle of power. First, there was the Reichstag fire. The Reichstag was their version, or is their version of Congress. They blamed it on the communists, which allowed them to be able to easier outlaw all parties outside of the Nazi party. And because they were in a national emergency, they allowed the Reichstag at that time to pass something called the Enabling Act, which gave Hitler dictatorial powers for an indeterminate amount of time. So basically, afterward, the Reichstag pretty much ceased to exist as being an opposing body, pretty much just a rallying, basically just a rallying chamber for the Nazis. And then when Hindenburg died in August of 1934, Hitler absorbed his office, where he was the head of state and military, and then Hitler became the undisputed dictator of Germany. That's how he got into power, through legal means, not through taking over or overthrowing the government, as he attempted to do a decade earlier. That's what he's talking about. That's what these people are mimicking. That's what these people are referencing. That's what they want. They don't represent democracy. And when I look at them, they're fucking evil. But I also say on the other end, look, this lesser two evil shit doesn't work. It doesn't work for us voting for the Democrats. And we should not feel compelled to vote for an awful party just because a more awful party looks better, makes them look somewhat better in comparison. That's not That's not the formula for great government. That's a formula for broken, terrible, gridlock, no achieving bullshit government, which is what we have. So, at the end of the day, both sides are full of shit to me. You know what I'm saying? Both sides are absolute full of shit. But tell me what you guys think.